All right. Well, here we are. I'm still sick, but I'm gonna try to tough it out, and we'll see how far I can get. I did get my test results back today. God, I don't even sound like myself. I broke my fucking Beats today. You guys are probably like, why are you wearing some other? I don't know. No, I was trying to boof it to prove to Karina that I can stick anything on my ass, and that's what happened to that. I know I probably sound like shit, but hey, it's committed to this craft. I am. I got my test results back. I'm negative for COVID-19. Maybe, I don't even. I had to go through the thing where you like drive through the. You have to like you have to do the test yourself. It's like self-testing. You like drive up, there's these astronauts butt fucking in astronaut suits, and they stop butt fucking and hand you a kit. They're like, hey, we're just gonna take a break. Here, test real quick while we're not butt fucking. And so then they like give you instructions, but your window's rolled up. I was in my car, and it was like this kind of like a mime. What's up with me and mimes? But no, it wasn't a mime, but it was like some Asian lady that I couldn't hear what she was saying. I knew she was talking because her mouth was moving, and she was like showing me what to do with the kit, and I just was like, okay, I need to stick this up my nose. But then I hear, so you like take the test kit out, snap off the little stick, and you stick it up your nose, and you know, who knows what other weird stuff's up there in my nose. Probably cocaine from like the mid 2000s. Anyway, I kind of just rubbed the top of my nose with this stick, and I put in this little test tube and like, you know, to snap it and then put it in like this biohazard bag. So I don't know if I did it right. I feel like shit. I'm congested, sore throat, chills, fatigue. I guess it's all a good thing because I've been spending a lot more time with my son and with Karina. It's something I need to do a lot more of. You know, I always put like work stuff before that. In the meantime, I've just been uploading a shitload of interviews to Patreon. This video will eventually make it to Patreon. I know people are complaining on Patreon. Not complaining, but I know that people, you know, wanted to get back to the prison stuff. So without having some long introduction, I'm just going to get into it. And, you know, I'll try to do this as long as I can. I don't feel great, but, you know, I do appreciate you guys, and I want to at least make the effort. And I'm not, since this one will eventually make it to YouTube, you know, the reason I'm not posting as much on YouTube is just because so many people talk shit on there. I'm always just like, you know, I'd rather give the Patreon community who's more supportive of me, not just financially, in a way where, you know, people aren't just like, you're a bitch, you know, you're SNY. Well, and everyone's SNY in the 1 and 2 yards. I'm just honest about it. You know, you can't handle the truth. I don't even care. Fuck prison. You know what I mean? You want to be hung up on that, whatever. Let's just keep going. Let's get into the story. So, where we left off last time, it was a bit of a cliffhanger. Yeah, I'm a piece of shit for that. I got called back to committee. Now, I literally refused committee before because it was like me and like 9 Southsiders and a mime. Mime was just like doing mime stuff for the other Southsiders. No, it's like 9 Southsiders. They all looked angry. You know? One of the Southsiders chased me from the phone up to my cell, you know, like a day before that, a few days before that, whatever. And I was with Keanu Reeves' brother, but he was like a meth head version that nobody knew. He's like that guy that goes and like sings karaoke at kids' birthday parties, and he just advertised, yeah, I'm Keanu Reeves' brother, Kyle Reeves. That's what that guy was like. So he was my celly. So anyway, eventually, I end up going back to committee because the cop pretty much like has a heart to heart with me, and he's like, look, man, like, you're gonna be stuck in this hellhole where you're literally a target. I was a target. Just being in that cell, anytime the door opened, anytime I try to use the phone, anytime I went to commissary, anytime I didn't dare go to chow anymore. And, you know, people can say what they want, you're a bitch. What would you do in that situation? Please tell me. No, I'm just going to go take on 50 people right now. You know, that sounds good if you're Debbie from Dallas, but I'm Ryan from Santa Barbara. I'm a bitch, you know? So I couldn't do that. So this particular time, when they called me, there was only 2 other guys besides myself. It's like a short Hispanic guy. It was like half white. And there's like this taller one with, remember, the raven hair? Can you say that about dudes? Is that gay? No, fool. Your hair's raven as fuck, fool. I don't know. I think that's just a way to describe a hair color, but, well, maybe not. I don't know. You'll see what's going to happen. So we end up going to committee. To go there, you have to put your hands behind your back. So these guys were ahead of me, right? And I could see their fists clenched just like mine were. Like your hands are behind your back. You kind of clench your fists because you're ready to fight. Fight or flight shit. I mean, at this point in my life, you guys have heard so many of my stories. You know how many times I've been beat up in prison? I'm paranoid about shit like that, especially in this situation. I didn't know what these guys were. I didn't know if they were PC or GP. I didn't even know what I was. All I knew that I like chicks. And I kept telling myself that. I was like, you like chicks, bro. You like chicks and you'll get back to yours. And I was scared. You know, I was scared and I had my fists clenched up, ready to hit someone one time and then curl up in a ball until the cops pried them off of me. That was my move in my mind. So we get up to, you got to go to like the captain's office. That's where committee is, you know. So you go in this door. That's where the blind spot is, because ahead of the doors, there's the chow halls where you would go. That's when all those riots were popping off. That's where it was happening. I'm like dying right now. Soldiers still making it happen because I'm just such a good guy. That's why. You go into this room. It's like a hallway. All right, you go into this door. There's a hallway, and then you wait in like a waiting area. And I had heard. That was gross. I'm sorry. I'll never do that again. But it's better than me chewing, right? It's not kind of like whack when someone's still like a piece. Nicorette gum and being sick sucks. So what I had heard is that little waiting area is when shit went down. Because now you're in a blind spot, okay? Like, the gun tower is watching you until you go into that door, into the hallway. Right when we go, you know, the cops just escort us to that door. They're like, okay, go in there, because there's like, you know, there's the captain, the lieutenant, there's some COs, there's some counselors. They're probably all involved with like embezzlement and shit, just like in Shawshank Redemption. You know, all those fools do that. And I don't know, I wasn't an accountant, and I couldn't like fix the books for them. I was just a piece of shit. I didn't even know what I was. I like chicks. They turn around on me right as we walk into that door, right? And we're in this hallway. I knew I was fucked. You know, I knew that I was probably going to get jumped by these 2 guys. So the door closes. They're facing me. I have my back to the door. The cop locks the door behind me. So, like, my back is literally stuck again. I can't go anywhere. They're both just looking at me like mean mugging me. mad dogging me. And I'm sad dogging them. I'm like, please don't hurt me. I don't say that. I'm just looking like a puppy. And they're all, hey dog, are you a fucking active fool? I don't know what to say. I don't know what they are. I don't know what I am. I'm like, and so I give them the most honest answer of my entire life. I say, I don't know. Hey, what do you mean you don't know, fool? I was like, I've been here for weeks. So I'm no good no matter what. You're no good either. Do you do crystal meth, fool? I was like, yeah. Matter of fact, I do. Are you tripping on us because we're SNY? I was like, no. I couldn't even say it. I couldn't even be like, I'm SNY. So kind of almost like going to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting for the first time. I mean, I never had that problem. I've always been like completely overt and flagrant with my drug addiction. I'm like, yeah, fucking, I hang out with trannies in Bakersfield and I smoke crack. So what? Everyone's like, dude, your honesty is so supreme. Come here. But it was hard to say I'm SNY. I may as well say I'm a fucking bitch. It's hard to say that too. I always comment shit like that on my Instagram, and then like I have like people I've grown up with like DM me, and they're like, "Hey man, no more of that. You can't be calling yourself a bitch, dog." They like try to. I'm like, okay, it's a fucking word, man. Hey, people are gonna extort you, fool. I'm like, what's gonna extort me on Instagram, dude? What the fuck? Get out of that jail shit, Jesus. Nobody lives like that anymore. You know? These fools that will extort you, the actives, the people that are still gangbanging, live with their fucking parents. They borrow their girlfriend's car. Those guys, they live in a bush for the most part. I'm not tripping on guys like that. I'm trying to do shit with my life. So they asked me if I do meth. I say yes. They asked me pretty much to admit that I'm PC, which I still will not do. I was like, I don't know what I am. I was GP when I started. I don't know. I guess I'm not anymore. They're all, hey, come here, fool. We're gonna make a little deal right now, dog. I'm like, all right, I like deals. What's up? They're all, hey, do you know what a domino is, fool? Now I know what a domino is, and a little TO real quick. For those of you that have never done time, and for those of you that have, you already know what this is. But there's something called a happy card. Okay, so I think I've explained it in other videos, but it's pertinent to this particular story, so I'm going to go into an explanation of what it is now. So there's something called a happy card, and what that is people get crystal methamphetamine. They break up the shards. They'll put it in like a spray bottle, like the little Flonase shit that you spray in your nose, stuff like that. Or, they'll have like a Hobbycraft air gun or whatever they're going to use. They break up the crystal meth into shards. Sometimes they put it into nature alcohol. Sometimes they just put it in water. A lot of times it's just tweakers. They're like, hey, fool, let's put some toilet water in there, fool. They won't know. Those stupid people in jail. Shit like that. You spray a card, but it has to be a certain kind of card. There's certain card stock that has absorption qualities to it. It's almost like blotter or like water paper material. So that when liquid goes on it, it'll absorb. So they'll spray a greeting card. It looks ridiculous. You can tell. It's like you jizzed on it a bunch, but like the entire thing's covered in jizz. You know how jizz gives things like a certain discoloration? I don't know. I'm just guessing it does that if you do it on paper. But you know how if you get liquid on paper, you can tell? You can tell when liquid's been spilled on something. You can like see the spots. Right? Expect somebody to answer me. What if my phone just started answering me back? It would fucking trip me out. Then they'll like write something on there. I've seen them write like, this is a happy card. Then they just put it in the mail and they send it. The whole thing has been doused in crystal methamphetamine, dog. I just like saying that. Crystal methamphetamine. I can't even say it sick. It doesn't even sound like a Southsider. It sounds like I'm French or some shit. Oh my God. And once you have that doused card, it's a happy card. The way that they quantify it, the way that they measure it, is with domino pieces. Domino pieces are like that big. Now, of course, it depends on how much meth is on there, but I've eaten a happy card, or a domino piece of a happy card that'll make me want to butt fuck something. So what? Sometimes you eat a piece of a domino card and it doesn't do shit. So it's kind of hit or miss. But they had a bunch of dominoes on them. I don't know why they're bringing happy card pieces to committee, but they did. And they're like, we want you to eat this in front of us. I mean, I thought I was getting, inundated by some, or inducted into some gay Southsider dropout clique or some GBGs or something. I was like, hey, I'm going to eat this, bro, but I'm not doing nothing weird. Oh, I'm not asking for that, fool. We just want to see you eat the card, dog. I'm like, all right. They gave it to me and I eat it. Yeah. I'm a loser. I'll do drugs if you put them in my face like that. And that was it. They just gave me this fucking domino-sized piece of a happy card, which was like really odd because walking up to committee, I thought for sure they were going to smash me out. That's what it looked like. It had all the symptoms of that. I think in retrospect, and I know actually because I got to be friends with these guys later, that they were trying to like bond with me. Like that was like their peace offering. Like, here, we'll give you some methamphetamine, fool. So they gave it to me. All right. Now, you can generally tell how strong a happy card is by how much you can taste the meth. And this particular stuff almost made me gag. It was so strong. I was like, damn. Like, sometimes someone will fuck up and they'll, like, put perfume on it, too. You see that a lot. Like, they think they'll, like, outfox the mailroom by, like, dousing it in perfume as well. But then probably the mailroom's just like, oh, look, someone tried to send a happy card and they just put a bunch of perfume on, too. And now it's extra noticeable. Now it's conspicuous when it wasn't before. So they gave me this happy card, and I had to sit in this waiting room, and I had to go to committee. So they call them first. I'm just sitting there. And of course, I'm such a dope fiend too. Like, I don't just like chew on a happy card a little bit. I'm like, and like spit it out. I swallow, I'm that much of a drug addict. I can't waste one little drop of the happy card. Even though I know I'm about to see committee and being twacked out, seeing the captain and lieutenant and trying to get moved to like a minimum security yard is probably not the best play. But, I mean, I don't know. I'm not known for, my strategic thinking. So they call those guys in one at a time, and they end up leaving. So I'm like the last guy there. And, every time they leave, like, a cop will come and escort them. So, like, the first guy goes, then the second guy, and then it's just me by myself. So they call me into committee. And I sit down, and they're like, Mr. Leone? Of course, they never say my name right. Yes. Now, the meth hadn't kicked in while I was sitting in the waiting room. I don't know. I could taste it. That was about it. Didn't kick in while I was sitting there in committee either. Until they started asking me questions. And then just all of a sudden I felt that familiar onset of meth. Static electricity. Tickling the back of my head. I have to butt fuck anything. I will butt fuck a football right now. I don't care. What's up? I told them that. No, I didn't. But like I'm feeling it coming on, and like that's the thing with meth when it's coming on like that, especially when you're like really sober like that. you notice the effects of something. It's like amplified because your system's so clean. So I'm just like having this intense, like really dirty, almost like a meth rush, from eating it. And I don't know, this is like 30 minutes later, this is, enough time had gone by where it would kick in. So they're asking me if the girl that I allegedly pimped out was a minor or an adult. Now, really think about this for a second. You're with 5 cops, 2 or 3 of which are like the highest level state prison staff that you could possibly be. They're like the hierarchy of prison officials at this particular institution. They're asking a fucking question like that, like, hey, have you ever pimped out a minor? And you're like, and you're trying to act like, and this is very common. If you've been twacked out for like days, there's no way you can hide it. You're just like, you see them to go to Target or Walmart or one of these places that are open like super late. Some of them are. I think Walmart's the one, not Target. And you see the tweakers and you know who's who. They have a whole shopping cart full of shampoo bottles. And they're just like chewing on their lip. You can tell when someone's been up for a few days. Now, you stop caring at that point too. You're just like, whatever. I'm so twacked out. I don't even care. Whatever. What are they going to do? But when it's just coming on like that, you start getting incredibly self-conscious about it. And they're asking me this shit. I'm like trying not to bite my lip. I'm like, I'm acting like a fucking, like I was a weirdo, Nah. She was like in her late 20s. And they're looking at me like, not saying anything, just judging. It's like obvious. I almost wanted to say, what? Do you think I'm high on meth or something? You think I just ate like a domino piece of a happy card that somebody sent into some random Southsider that's a dropout? What do you think? Come on. Oh, no, I didn't. A minor? Come on. So they're asking me like details about the case, which is common in committee. They want you to... It's part of like their weird bootleg grading system, of like how much responsibility you want to take for the crime that you committed. And, oh my God, dude. Jesus. Fucking crazy. My nose is usually fucked up, but like when I'm sick, oh my God, it's even worse. And they want to like find out if you'll take like ownership for what you've done. I don't know what they expected me to say. Yeah, I pimped that bitch out. I pimp out all sorts of bitches. And I'm sorry. What I did was wrong. It's usually not what criminals do. Criminals go in there and they try to speak game to them. That's how dumb a lot of people are in prison. They're just not the brightest people. I'm not going to generalize like that because you'll find some smart people in prison. But a lot of times people are like, yeah, I mean, I did it, but I didn't like it, if you know what I mean, And of course, they're just like, okay, this guy's an idiot. He's not taking responsibility for what he did. But they're asking me about shit that I didn't even do. They're like, yeah, was she, so you're saying that she was in her late 20s, is what you're saying. Now, I'm sitting there, and my entire mouth is eating itself. It's like, I'm like, I'll like put one leg up, and then I'll like think about it. I'll be like, oh my God, one leg up, you look guilty. All right, other leg. I'll like start doing my hair. Yeah, what did I tell you? I mean, she's in her late 20s and she's a prostitute. And I was thinking, and like in my mind, I'm like, crack a joke. I'm like, I was thinking if someone's got a pimper, may as well be me, right? And you can just see this look of disgust on them. And I'm not exaggerating this whatsoever. They're asking me some weird ass shit, They're trying to figure out like what age she was and like, if she was a minor, well, hey, if she wasn't a minor then, have you ever considered pimping out a minor? I'm like, considered. I don't, no. No, have you? You know, I seem like the crazy tweaker homeless person. Probably what they were thinking. They were like, oh, okay. So you're saying she was an adult? I was like, we've been over, yes. I'm like doing like weird, like trying to cross their eyes out. They're like, what? I mean, and I'm talking about like, when I'm saying this, the meth is kicking in, like, I'm talking about like, it's almost like, feels like a hallucinogen is kicking in or something. Like, that's how strong this stuff was. It was an insane amount. Whoever did this, like, it probably got like an ounce and like sprayed it on like one little card, and these guys gave me a piece. I don't know, man. I don't know if they were like fucking with me because I know I was going to committee, but oh fuck, was that Dayquil or NyQuil? I always do that. I don't know which one to take. No. I mean, I never know which one is which. So then they start having me tell them the story about how the pimping thing went down. And like in my twacked out mind, I'm thinking that it's definitely probably some sort of trick. You know? I don't know. I mean, I'm like, well, I'd rather not say. Shouldn't you guys know this? Isn't this on the police report? And they're like, we want to hear it from you. Now they're getting aggressive with me. And now in my mind, I'm like, God, they think I'm on meth. Maybe I should just surrender. Fuck it. I'm not trying to go down for this. Maybe I'll tell them the dropouts. Fuck those pieces of shit. PC bitches. I'm just kind of looking at them. Now they're talking. I can't even hear them. I have racing thoughts anyway, but now I'm just like, brr, 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 you know. I'm not really sure how they ended the conversation, but eventually they're just like, well, I think we've heard enough, Mr. Leone. You have yourself a good day. Stay sober. And I was like, it freaked me out. You don't want to hear that. You're like freshly tweaking in jail setting around authority figures. When they're asking you weird shit like that, it tripped me out. I was like, I will. Stay sober, not pimp out girls. Only adults, too. They're like, okay, you can go. I was like, so can you. Yeah. And then I just got up and left. No idea what happened. Didn't know if I was going to a 1 yard, didn't know what. I'm not a meth user either. Like, that's not my thing. I mean, I'm a garbage pail kind of drug guy, so I'll just kind of do whatever, but that's not my drug of choice. I never have liked it. I'm always a chronic masturbator on it. And that never really flies when you're with only guys. Which, I mean, let's be honest. You're not always have the luxury of being around women. Sometimes you're around dudes. And you go in the bathroom and you beat off. And they know, and it's awkward. Especially if you don't know the people that well, which happens in the drug world. Like, sometimes you just meet up with, like, some random tweaker that you saw, like, stealing a bike in front of the pharmacy. And you're like, hey, dude, you look cool. Do you want to hang out? They're like, yeah. This is my bike. You want to take it? You, like, literally just saw him snap the chain off with wire clippers. You're like, yeah, dude, let's go. Or with metal clippers or whatever. And then you're, like, at some hotel and you're just like, I gotta go shit. You're in the bathroom for like 6 hours. You're naked. You're like making like snow angels on the bathroom floor with your clothes and you're just getting it. And then it's always awkward. Always awkward. Yeah. So meth doesn't really agree with me. So anyway, so they escort me back to my cell. Now I'm by myself. That's common when you go to committee. You know, you go in a big group and then you get returned individually, like I had said before. Now, first of all, I'm happy that I didn't get beat up. So I thought that was going to be a real possibility, especially when we were walking and I saw the way that their fists were clenched like that. But when I got to committee, they were asking me weird shit, like asking me how old the prostitute was. What the fuck would I know? I didn't even know that girl that well. I know she was an adult. She was like 28, I want to say. 28, 29, I don't know. But the whole thing kind of wigged me out, and then the meth started kicking in. So, it was just a weird situation. So anyway, they bring me back to my cell, and my celly Chubbs is just like, hey, man, how'd it go? And I was like, now I'm still weird. Probably on the entire way walking back to this to my cell, I'm thinking about jerking off. Because that's how fucking weird I am on meth. I don't even think about sex. I don't think about gay stuff. I don't think about women. Especially when I'm in jail when I can't fuck any. I just think about masturbating. That's what I think about. I jerk off and think about myself jerking off. So? Don't you? It's a weird drug, So I'm probably thinking about shit like that. I don't remember. But I know that when I got back there, he's like, hey, man, how'd it go? And I was like, just on one, I'm like, oh. Yeah, it was good. It was good. I'm tired. Look, hey, man. I gotta get some sleep. Like, what? It's like 2 PM, dude. I'm like, no, it was actually even before. It's probably like 1 or 2. I don't know. We went to committee in the morning, but who knows how long that took. Probably like around noon or 1 or something. Let's just say 1. Dude, it's like 1 PM. I was like, yeah, I don't feel good, man. He's like, are you on something, man? I was like, no, I'm just tired. I'm just tired. I want to go to sleep. I'm like, all right. So he's like on the upper bunk. Now, listen. I'm not one to brag, but I've gotten good at masturbating covertly throughout the years because I've done so much time. I've done a lot of meth in jail. So he's up there. He's reading. We have no music, by the way. Very odd what I'm doing. Don't usually do this in the middle of the day. But I do that thing where I kind of stick my knee out, pitch a tent up, fetal position. Remember, guys, backwards grip. So you're going like this. It's different than going like this. It really is. Seriously, at home, get a blanket, pitch it up with your knee, try jerking off like that, and then try doing it like that. Like this, you're able to make it so that the friction doesn't hit the tent every time. Technique I've mastered years ago in jail. You can beat off in a day room. I've done it, kicking heroin in county jail. Beat off, I don't give a fuck either. When you're kicking like that, you gotta do what you gotta do. So anyway, I'm doing it. I'm listening. Now, I'm not listening. Usually you do this at night, so you're listening to your celly sleep. I'm just listening to like creaks and you're like on these metallic bunks, so you move one way and like a creak, like you can tell if somebody's moving up there. I'm just getting it, right? And on meth, I can go forever and ever and ever, and you just never come. Like, you don't want to. You get close, and you're like, nah, no way. Just keep doing this. It's not weird. It's not weird that there's some guy that looks like Keanu Reeves, kind of, but a uglier tweaker version above me. But then you hear flashlight on me. Fucking cop catches me beating off, right? He's like, Leone, the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, it's like, lift the blanket. Now Chubbs sticks his head down. I'm like, oh my God, how embarrassing. I'm getting busted by my celly, and the cop's the one that tipped him off. Piece of shit, pig. Take the blanket off, Leone. Chubb's like, yeah, man, what are you doing down there? That's weird. I was like, I'm just like, you know what? They need to know. No, I just ripped the blanket off. Now, when the cop had initially tapped on the window, I'd put my boxers back on. But it still looked weird because they were like scrunched up. So it kind of looked like I was wearing a thong. You know how like sumo wrestlers have like the way that they wear their little whatever the fuck their sumo wrestler like wrestling shorts, how like it flosses in their ass like that. It's kind of how my boxers were. You know, I'm just like, what? Cop's like, don't act like you weren't like he's saying it loud because he's talking, but don't act like you weren't masturbating, man. Hey, we don't do that around here. Chubb's just like, dude, that's fucking gross. I'm like, are you seriously going to take a cop's word over your own cellies? Dude, what kind of piece of shit person does that? Put the blanket back on. I was like, I was fucking sleeping. You guys are both scumbags. I like just turn over and pretend like, you know, whatever. I'm sure my entire face was flushed in embarrassment, right? Chubbs is just not, he's still looking down. Like, oh, he's all confused. Like, hey, man. Hey, Leone, come on, turn over. And I like turn over and look at him. I was like, what? He's like, dude, are you on meth right now? I was like, yeah. They're handing out crystal meth at committee. Are you stupid? Like, what the fuck, dude? Come on. Jesus Christ. I'm like, I go on and on about how I'm getting a little offended with you, Chubbs. You're always accusing me. You accuse me of using the last of the toilet paper, which I did. Couldn't admit that. I had to shit really bad. It was like one of those ones that would just never, you keep wiping and wiping and just never. I'm human. Not going to be honest about it, that's for sure. I learned a long time ago in prison that if you're honest with your cellies, that they use it against you. You know, you're like, yeah, I used all the toilet paper. And then like when the next one comes, you're like, hey man, I'm going to take an extra half of a roll because you just can't be trusted with it, you know? You run out of supplies too quick. So fuck that. I'm not going to be, nope. Say, you know, you're not honest with them. I certainly was not going to admit to him that I was beating off because it's embarrassing. And secondly, I'm not going to admit to him that I'm on meth. And I'm like passionately denying this. So then Chewy walks by. I don't know. This is like, Chubb's like, okay, man, I'm going to go back and read my book then. Like, read your book. And I go right back to beating off, right? Now I'm beating off and looking out at the cell window, you know, just to like make sure the cop doesn't creep up on me like that. And I see Chewy. It's like, hey, Leone. Hey, man. I got a kite from Weirdo. I'm like, all right, cool. Slides it under the door. And Chubbs is like, I'll get that. And he jumps off the bunk. I was like, all right, hand it to me. It's to me. He's like, no, bro. I know something's up. And I'm see, now normally, no, I'm not a fighter. But I'm also not going to stand for that kind of shit. Or I'm getting a kite to me and my cellie's just like intercepting it. But to be honest, I couldn't stop beating off. I had my hand on my dick and I was not willing to fight. When I could be playing with myself like that. So I was like, come on, Chubbs, give that to me. That's how ridiculously tweaked out I was. Like, I would not stop, you know? I'm like, come on, Chubbs. Let me get the kite, man. And he just starts reading it. And his eyes just... A domino, bro? Don't tell me you ate an entire domino and you didn't give me any of it. I knew you were acting weird. And that's the weird thing about cellies, is they start acting like your girlfriend or something. You're just like, ew. Ugh. You know, it's like, hey man, do you want to, I don't know, maybe tonight, you want to make the spread? I'm sick of cooking. You want to cook for us, bro? I'm constipated, bro. You're like, don't tell me shit like that, Chubbs. Jesus Christ. Shit that, like, ugh. I feel like a married couple. So he's like, well, Weirdo's saying that they have 2 more dominoes for sale, and I think that it would be kind of cool of you if you bought me one, seeing as you fucked me out of the last one. What do you think about that? I'm just like, well, that shuts you up? Like, now I have my hand, I'm not playing with myself anymore. I'm like, well, that shuts you up? He's like, yeah. It's like, how much do they want for it? He's like, he wants $20 a domino. I'm like, God damn, how does he want it? He's like, store. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, you know, I hadn't gone to store yet. I was still going off of, off Dirty's, you know, the commissary that he had left me. I'm sorry, someone will comment, get a lighter, don't smoke when you're sick. Shut up, life coaches. I know I need all that. I'm off right now because I'm sick and I'm really trying for you guys. So, you know, eventually, being the dope fiend that I am, and the fact that I want more drugs, I agreed to buy $40. You know, I'm like, but I write on the kite, you know, I say that I kind of explain the situation. I say, hey, look, you know, I'm getting more money right now. I'm about to go to store. I don't have the money right now, so, you know, give it to me at your own discretion. I'm telling you, I think I'll be able to go to store next week. You know, I've learned over time that when you're getting like a credit front like this in jail, it's always better to kind of explain your situation going into it. So if the money doesn't hit for some reason, that's the proper way to go about it, right? You don't want to just be like, yeah, I got you, no matter what. You want to explain that it's kind of iffy, that you don't, hey, do not bark. Can't do videos if you guys bark. All right, you can go. You can go in this other area. Sorry. I know. Ever since my microphone broke, I always break all my shit. I've been getting up in the middle of videos to go smoke. You know, it's always better to tell them your situation. You know, it's just the proper thing to do. It saves you a lot of bullshit. Now there's like a siren going on. So, you know, next time Chewy goes by, he comes by, you know, Chubbs is like waiting at the door, of course, because he's doesn't have any money. And remember that letter that I told you about the private investigator for his attorney? That hasn't come into play yet. That'll come into play probably in the next video or so. But just remember, that's still a thing. So he's kind of like waiting by the door. And when Chewy comes by, he's like, yo, Chewy! Chewy comes by and, you know, we give him this kite where I explain that I want the dominoes, but, you know, what my situation is or whatever. So we get another kite later that day. Chewy says that I have to go to dinner to get it. It's like, yeah, that's no problem. You know, I'll fuck with you on it, but you have to come to dinner and get it yourself. You know, I don't know your celly or whatever, because that's what I tried to say, to pass it off at dinner. Because Chewy, like, he would do kites and he would do store, but he wasn't going to pass drugs. He was like, you know, he was one of those guys that he was, you know, in a Bible study or whatever. He's probably a chomo. I don't mean any offense to anybody that's Christian or anything. I'm just saying, in prison, the Bible group guys are usually chomos. Sorry. I do not mean any offense by that. So we get a kite back again, and now Chewy's saying that, or Weto's saying that I have to go to dinner myself. Okay, you have to really understand, I haven't gone to chow in a long time, and now I'm twacked out. So what are the two things that I get when I'm on meth? I get horny, and I get paranoid. That's it. But now I got Chubbs in my ear like, oh, dude, you can't do that to me. You get to get high, but like, no, I don't get to get high. Fuck that. Stop being a pussy and just go to chow with me. I'm just like, oh my, I'm never going to hear the end of it. I was like, he's like, dude, like, it's usually like 2-on-2 or 4-on-4. You know, it's not that big a deal. You know, you're white. Nobody's going to fuck with you. It's always Southsiders. So I was like, all right, whatever. I just don't want to hear him talk about it anymore. So I got dressed and I got ready to go to chow. You know, paranoid, scared. I knew something bad was going to happen. And that's exactly what did. And we'll get into that in the next story. I'm sorry for cutting it short. I had to get something to you guys. Feel like shit, you can probably tell. You know, I don't know. I'll try to do another one tonight. If not, I'll keep putting interviews up on Patreon. Appreciate you all. Hope you're safe. Palabra.